This is Hannibal here as a follow-up from the lawsuit related to former WWE Chairman Vince McMahon, who resigned yesterday, and former WWE Head of Talent Relations, John Laurinaitis, aka Johnny Ace. Brock Lesnar is not expected to be at tonight's Royal Rumble, according to PW Insider. He has not traveled to Tampa. He's going to be replaced by an NXT wrestler, which is not really a suitable replacement. I don't think anyone from NXT would be a suitable replacement, but he wasn't advertised. I guess Brock Lesnar was not named in this lawsuit, but they said a former UFC heavyweight champion that worked for WWE, which would only describe Lesnar or Cain Velasquez. So you got to think it has to do with Lesnar. But here's the quote from the lawsuit. That December, McMahon gave Grant's personal cell phone number to the WWE star. The lawsuit said the wrestler asked her to send a video of herself urinating. The suit said, and after she did, he called her a quote unquote bitch. That same month, the star expressed a desire to quote unquote set a play date, but a snowstorm disrupted his travel plans. End quote. Again, these are just allegations. I'm not saying they're true or not, but because they had already lost Slim Jim as a sponsor, which was the main sponsor for Royal Rumble, and once Vince McMahon resigned, they got Slim Jim back. So did he resign directly because they're getting a ridiculous amount of money from Slim Jim to sponsor the Royal Rumble, or is it just coincidence? Who knows? But they'll probably play it safe by not using Lesnar. Um, the whole story is very bizarre to me, and I won't comment on it any further. I doubt it will go to court, but it would be very in, interesting if it did. But there's way too much. I don't mean to be a pug, but shit being flung. Of course, one of the most bizarre things from this is apparently Vince McMahon took a crap on this woman's face during a threesome with Johnny Ace, and according to what I understand from this lawsuit, Johnny Ace had sex with her with the crap on her face. So this is stuff that is is distasteful to say the least. Braun Blade Breaker would be as close to decent replacement as they could find. A fan is commenting here, and I agree. I believe he was supposed to debut after WrestleMania last year, but I believe the incident with his father, Rick Steiner, making some comments about the TNA transgender wrestler at WrestleCon that led to a big hoopla, caused his debut on the main roster to be delayed. So he's kind of just in purgatory in NXT. I think Braun Breaker has more upside than anyone else in WWE as a babyface, more than Cody Rhodes even. He's in my opinion, he's cooler than Cody Rhodes. I think, as Stevie Ray said recently on this podcast, Rhodes had a lot of hoopla coming in to WWE when he first jumped from AEW, but he's cooled off for sure now. I've had zero dealings with Vince other than shaking his hand as an extra, and as I responded to someone on Facebook today, the most talk I ever had with him was one day, and I believe it may have been in Bakersfield, California in 2006 when they were using me as an extra. I was talking, and it could have been another time. They all kind of mixed together. It wasn't for, it was after I'd been an extra several times. and I had seen Chris Benoit several times, and he had still followed the Stampede Wrestling product. And whenever I saw him, he would want to talk to me about Stampede Wrestling. He followed the message board. He knew what was going on, which was shocking because he was a big WWE star at that time. But I was talking to Chris Benoit, and McMahon walked up to us because he wanted to talk to Benoit, and he said, "Excuse me, hi, my name is Vince McMahon. Do you mind if I talk to Chris Benoit for a minute?" So he could have been more of an asshole about it, but he very politely introduced himself and then took um, Benoit away from me. That's the most interaction I ever had with him, other than a handshake. I was only ever an extra for WWE, and when I was signed by WWE, I was signed by John Laurinaitis, who I did have some encounters back when I was an extra. That I believe the stuff with him and girls because I remember one time I interrupted him because he was talking to some girl. Uh, it seemed like forever. This was a girl that was a model or something that was in Toronto. This was back in January 2005, looking to get a job, and I interrupted him to just ask, "How can I get looked at?" And he proceeded to yell at me, and it pissed me off so much that he yelled at me in front of everybody. I took my bags and I left. I actually left Raw before the Raw show even started. I returned the next day for SmackDown in Montreal, but I was so pissed I took my bags and left. But I'm sure he forgot about that by the time he signed me a few years later. Vince has a devastating finisher. That's the most disturbing part of this is he's almost 80 years old. What kind of 80-year-old? I mean, granted, this was not a threesome with two girls. This is him and Johnny Ace, supposedly, and he's a senior citizen, almost 80 years old, allegedly doing this stuff. But for now, they're all allegations, and there are definitely some disturbing allegations for sure. But Vince McMahon, he's a billionaire. And he doesn't run WWE anymore. He's just the majority stockholder. He was the chairman, but I mean, for the people that think this is really going to get him, he's still going to be a billionaire after this. He could just play things more from behind the scenes, and I'm not saying that's right. That's just the way it is. Jack Kilby says people are calling for a full gutting of Vince's inner circle, as Rousey calling for Bruce Pritchard, who I actually like Bruce Pritchard. I've never had any dealings with him. Never. But he seems like a nice enough guy. But Ronda Rousey definitely saying earlier today in a tweet, the last time Vince quote unquote retired, he worked through Bruce Pritchard. And I said it the whole time last time, he'll be back. Things blow over. Hulk Hogan was on SmackDown last night saying he might be in the Royal Rumble. He was on the Royal Rumble Cold Open released today. Wasn't too long ago, Hulk Hogan was out of the Hall of Fame and not talked about by the WWE. So things blow over. I'm not saying this will or won't, but I mean, Alex, I'm not into the stuff that was described. To me, that makes me sick. And when I first read that, I was eating, and I have to say, I almost threw up in my mouth. Someone says he thought Shane McMahon would have taken control. Well, Triple H, I guess, was the best politician, but a lot of people are saying Triple H probably knew about this stuff and didn't do anything about it. So will he be one of the ones that has to pay for this too? Time will tell. I wonder what's going to happen during their. How they have these Royal Rumble, these post pay-per-view press conferences. That should be interesting. There's probably going to be a rule that they're not allowed to ask questions about that. Rob, yeah, Vince is rich enough he could retreat to the moon if he wanted to. That is true. Thank you for watching, for your support, Alex. Derek, if you want to know what happened, click on the live streams of this channel on the main page and watch what's been going on. Oh, no comment on that, Mike, but they're I don't know. They're one thing I don't understand is this is coming up days after the Netflix deal was announced, right before the Royal Rumble. The timing was impeccable, and it didn't seem like the police were contacted when this was happening, which you would think if you really wanted a billionaire to pay, you would have criminal charges put against them. The statute of limitation is too late for that, but uh, that's one bizarre thing out of this. But there's been a lot of accusations against Vince. So, and a lot of accusations against his staff dating back to the Pat Patterson stuff. That there's just so many stories about, and Pat Patterson even retired for a while due to an overwhelming amount of allegations. I think if that had happened in this era, Patterson never would have gone back to work. And a lot of people say Vince still paid Pat during all that. So there's always been a lot of weird stuff going on, but it's new owners now. Click on the live stream section on the main page, Derek. It's all I can help you with. Jack Kilby did a report on it. I've done several reports on it. Have a great night. Enjoy the Royal Rumble.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot interviews.